This is SpaceCoastDaily.com. We're here with Jack Smink. He's running for Brevard County Commissioner District 2. Mr. Smink, could you tell us a little bit about your background here in Brevard County?
Yeah, I'm a 49-year resident here in Brevard County. Actually third generation. My grandfather lived on Parnell Street over here in Merritt Island. Married my high school sweetheart, Karen. We had 2 children together. We've been married 34 years. And, went to school here, went through the whole school system. I was on a 2-year scholarship at BCC to wrestle. I was on a wrestling team, believe it or not, when they had a wrestling team, and so on. And so I got a couple years college here at BCC. And then my father took ill. My plans originally were to go to Troy State University and play football. I had a 4-year ride to Troy State, and my dad took real ill, so I had to take care of the family. Luckily, BCC had the wrestling team, and I picked up a 2-year scholarship because school was so important to me. Stayed on the dean's list for a couple of years. I loved school, but I had responsibility with family, and my dad eventually passed away, and I took over and ran Smink Painting. For almost 11, 12 years, I did that. And at the end of that tenure with Smink Painting, I was offered a job as a commercial sales manager and governmental sales manager with Richard's Paint Manufacturing. So I went to work for them as a commercial sales manager, and I dealt a lot. In fact, sold a lot of paint to the school board, the county, the housing authority. They all piggyback together on the bids, so I'm used to that kind of thing. From there, with Richard's Paints, I was with Richard's Paints I think 11 or 12 years, something to that effect, but when I left Richard's, I went to work for a national called Duron Paints, and I became their statewide dealer sales manager. Did that for a couple of years, and my children got older, Crystal and John, and got out of the house, and I decided I wanted to go in business for myself as a promoter, and I started Lightning Strikes Twice Productions. I've enjoyed that. I did that for almost 12 years now, and Lightning Strikes Twice Productions, it's funny because a lot of people think of me as Jack Smink, the Elvis tribute artist, and that's all right. I branded myself that way. Mm-hmm. But having said that, my job with Lightning Strikes Twice Production, my company, was much more vast than that. I did all the promotion, did all the branding, produced the show, went out and got funding. Mm-hmm. So I did everything pretty much with the company from soup to nuts. So I kind of chuckle when people go, "Oh, you're the Elvis guy." Oh, yeah, okay, I'm the Elvis guy. I did a good job of branding, so I'm all right with that. Now I'm in the process of rebranding and recalibrating people's idea of who I am, because I'm not just an entertainer, although I enjoy that part of the business. I'm a businessman. Been a businessman all my life, out of necessity, kind of hard knocks learning. Mm-hmm. So that brought me to that part of my life. Now, 2 years ago, I sat down, and I've always wanted to serve. Always wanted to serve in some capacity here in Brevard, because I love this county. Mm-hmm. I was raised here. And so I made a cognizant decision to look around and look at my options. I knew the county commission spot was coming up, Chuck was terming out, and I looked at and started going to some of the county meetings and started doing my homework to find out what the job was all about. And I found out, as I looked at it, I was a good fit. My life experience, my skills that I've gathered through the years, I think is a very, very good fit for that job. So, but I did want to do some more homework. So once I decided I was going to run for county commissioner, and it was a good fit, I filed. I filed way early. I filed way early for the job, and you know, but that's all right. I had a lot of homework to do, and so I started in on that 2-year journey, 2+ year journey now that I've been on. The first thing I did was start calling on the different department heads at the county level, meeting with them, asking questions, going over the budget. I went to things like TPO meetings and EELS meetings. I went to, I got to tell you, I learned a lot about the EDC. I called on Linda Weatherman, and miraculously, I didn't get her assistant. I got Linda. Mm-hmm. And Linda was willing to go to lunch and sit down and talk to me and then take me in her office and show me what the EDC was all about. And at that point, I'm not sure she even knew that I was running. Mm-hmm. That's just her way. She's very accessible. So Linda did that. That was a good experience. I went to a lot of different CRA meetings. Myra, for one, who's, I got to tell you, Myra is very well run CRA. Rockledge CRAs. I went to their CRA and learned a lot about theirs. Cocoa Beaches is starting up. So, and Cocoa, I think, has a couple. I haven't had a chance to spend a lot of time with their CRA yet, but that's Community Redevelopment Agency, by the way. So these are all the things I researched, and it took a lot of time, over 2 years of research to get to know about these things. But my opinion and the things I learned from that and was able to glean from that was very valuable, quite valuable in many ways. One way is, of course, the knowledge of the budget and the things, but also you start to develop relationships with people that are in our community doing service in the community. And I gotta say that people in this community, the people who serve in this community, especially on the county level, are impeccable. They're unbelievable. They work hard day and night, and without, unselfishly in that job. And they're good. They're real good at what they do. So now here I am. I'll tell you when the light really turned on, Matt. I was sitting in the one of the offices of one of our county employees, and she went on to tell me that she was getting ready to serve for the 31st year. She was with the county 31 years. And you talk about humble. I was humbled because here I am looking to become county commissioner with very little experience at the county level. I've had a lot of experience on a business level, but not at the county level. So my whole approach, my whole thought process on where I could contribute changed, totally changed. And the respect level went over the top. I was amazed to find out through this young lady that works for the county and through several other county people that no one's ever done this. No one's ever gone from county department to county department to county department and develop these relationships and gain this knowledge. So I'm the only one that's ever done that. And to me, that was kind of a business 101 common sense approach to being able to filter into the system to be able to contribute. So this has been my journey. This has been my 2-year plus journey and my life journey going into this government I want to do so much for. I think I have a lot to contribute to the county, and there's a lot of skill sets that I have that could really make a big difference.
Now I've noticed that on a lot of your signs, you mentioned the lagoon. We all know that's a very popular topic right now, a big concern with a lot of Brevard boaters and just Brevard residents as a whole. Yeah. Where would you say that ranks among Brevard's issues, and what would you say are some of the top issues that concern you with the future of Brevard County?
Sure. Well, we'll start with the lagoon. I think that the good news is that that everyone, even my competitors, agree that the lagoon is our #1 issue. It could devastate this county from an economic standpoint and from just the beauty and what this county is all about, that the lagoon is Brevard County. So that's a no-brainer. We have to protect it. There's a little danger in that thought process, the no-brainer part, because we've always still got to keep our brains engaged as to how we approach the issue. We cannot allow opportunistic entities to come in and do things here in this county. Every resource we utilize to fix the lagoon, to repair the lagoon, to upgrade the lagoon, has to go to the lagoon. I think the biggest danger that we have is how we approach opportunities to fix the lagoon, because there's always going to be people out there, political people. God, I hate that word. But anyway, there's political people out there that are going to try to, opportunistic people that are going to try to take opportunity out of it. We've got to make sure that we're laser focused on the lagoon and with no waste. You know, over in Tampa area, they had the same issue, I think it was 10 or 12 years ago, and they fixed their issue. And they've done it with very little funding. They've done that with very little funding. It's very interesting. I sat down for a few minutes with a local, believe it or not, a local lawn care guy from that area, and his name eludes me right now, but doesn't matter. He's got one of the largest lawn maintenance companies in that area right now, and it's because his approach was not against any facet of maintenance for the lagoon or precautions for the lagoon. So he went to a 3% versus a 6% year-round. So he didn't have to stop service. He lowered the amount of, I think it was nitrates in his chemicals. So, you know, his approach was very wise, and this is what we've got to do: adapt and overcome. In our business, we don't want to hurt our businesses, but we also want to make sure that the businesses think outside the box a little bit, find a way that they can continue to service our lawn care, maybe by lowering that percentage to 3% or something, do a year-round thing. I'm not a chemist, so, and I don't profess to be. So, but I'm sure there's solutions out there, and we're working toward them. Brevard County's good about that. Once we get a hold of something, we grab a hold and grab it by the tail and take it in. So I think that's happening from Brevard's level. I want to continue to stay after it because it's not a long-term situation. And also, we want to make sure we get some funding and some support from state, county level, but the state and even the federal level. And I'd like to see the port jump in on that a little bit. I think we could get them involved, and they're good people over there at the port, so I'm sure they'll want to see what's good for Brevard and offer maybe to help in some way. I'd love to see that happen. But anyway, so the lagoon would be issue number one, of course, and that's an easy one for everybody to start with. If you'd asked me this question, a year ago, I'd have said jobs. Jobs are so important here in Brevard, and there's lots of ways to approach those jobs, but I like to always look long term. I believe that the foundation of anything is the most important part, and the foundation is what solids up whatever you're doing. So as far as our economy goes and jobs, we need to look at small business and manufacturing. That's our foundation here in Brevard. If we can really develop a strong foundation of small business, manufacturing, then when we get Embraer to come, when we get Harris to do more, it's icing on the cake. It's icing on the cake. But our foundation, not the pretty part of the money, not the fast part of the money, but the solid, dependable part of the money in Brevard and jobs in Brevard County will come from small business and manufacturing. And we got to get back to making things again here in Brevard. We were one of the top counties in the state, and that's no longer the case. So we need to get back to making things again. So I would say jobs would be number 2, on my list. Number 3 could be a whole lot of different things. I mean, number 3, there's several issues, but I would say number 3 issue for me as a potential county commissioner would be our roads. Our roads, we've allowed ourselves to not save and plan like we should have when money was flowing like water here in Brevard. And our biggest issue back then was to have controlled growth, and nobody was looking at spending or saving, and as long as reducing spending. So we didn't put the money aside. Our reserves were not put aside. We've got enough money right now to treat, I think it's around 13% of our roads. Mr. Dunningoff, who is in charge of that responsibility at the county level, I don't know how he sleeps at night. He's got a terrible responsibility ahead of him. He's in my prayers all the time because he's got a real juggling act right now just to keep his head above water in that respect. So we're going to have to figure out now. The county did something very wise. They've assembled what they call a blue ribbon committee. That blue ribbon committee is a cross section of local businessmen, people that have been in business here in Brevard, leaders. And those people and I've been going to their meetings, and they've been approaching this issue of how to address this deficit of finance that we should be able to put in 60 miles of roads, I think it is. My numbers are right, and we have enough to supply us with 14 or 12 or 8, something like that. But in any case, we're in deep trouble when it comes to our roads. So we're going to have to figure out where that money's going to come from. And now, and at the time, no one expected our economy to go down like it has. So now economy's gone down, and the roads, the money wasn't put aside. So we have to look at that and look at how we're going to approach that. The Blue Ribbon Committee has done a really fine job. I've sat in on their meetings. They've gone through a journey, a 6-month journey, something like the 2-year journey I've been through, looking at the budget. It's a very eye-opening journey. It's an eye-opening learning experience when you start really finding out how the nuts and bolts work, how each department is financed, how each department gets its money, and how bright our people are. But a lot of times our county, people aren't their hands are tied in scenarios. So we live in a beautiful county, 72 miles of. We just need to, as citizens, we need to stay engaged, and we need to understand our culture here. Once we understand our culture, and what I mean by culture is what defines Brevard County, what's important to us, what makes quality of life, and what we define quality of life as here in Brevard County. Now, once those issues are resolved, we've got a beautiful place, and we'll continue to have a beautiful place to live. I love Brevard. I want to thank you for this opportunity to be able to talk to you guys about this and to get a little better acquainted with you and with maybe hopefully with some of the citizens, because I've got a lot of ideas and a lot of approaches on how I think I can make our county bigger and better and safer and still keep quality of life there. So